This is the man.
Don't do that, Heist.
I will forever be reminded that is the theme song for Adam vs. the Man. Haven't been there. I can't help it. I just can't help it.
Ass kisser.
I can't help it. It's forever ingrained in my mind, man. It was a good time anyway. But that is Rebel Inc. bringing us in. And we got with us Adam Armstrong from Rebel Inc., the vocalist. Glad to have you with us, man. Thanks for joining us.
What's up, man? Appreciate you guys having me. Thank you.
Anytime, man. So, you know, one thing I've always wondered about Rebel Inc. is I'm seeing that you guys are starting to get featured in more magazines and things like that. You guys are growing in popularity. That to me is really, really exciting because we're kind of trying to do the opposite with this show, what you're doing there. We're trying to take bands and groups that have conscious lyrics and things that might not be outwardly associated with the Liberty Movement, whereas you and introduce them, whereas you guys wear your Liberty Movement affiliations on your sleeve, and yet you're penetrating more into the scene. So what's that like?
It's crazy, man. But it's extremely positive, you know. I think that the mainstream message of everything is just completely moronic for the most part. You know, the things that are blasted in our face every day from your mainstream music pretty much all the way through your mainstream media. And, you know, being a part of the Liberty Movement and playing this type of music, it's kind of surreal and crazy, you know, because we experience a totally different platform of people than you know, kind of going from event to event. Like we're playing these bars and these pubs and these other music venues, and you know, guys on VH1's That Metal Show like Jim Florentine are talking about us and getting us hyped up to these other people that are kind of major players in the industry. But we're kind of at the front lines of this blind war. And it's been awesome because the response from people has been so positive, and a lot of things that we all talk about in the Liberty Movement, you know, are just, you know, open-minded, freedom-minded people in general. I think that the masses actually are already thinking, but they're not coming together as groups large enough to, you know, to make sure that their message is conveyed between each other and let people know that they feel the same way about a lot of things. So.
Adam, do you think that it's important that something like what just happened recently with Korn's Jonathan Davis coming on, Alex Jones, you see this paradigm switch almost in certain groups because they did their new video all about the NSA, and he's been pretty vocal about it now. Do you think in any way that the Liberty Movement and you guys can have a positive effect on these mainstream artists, or do you think they're so far gone there's nothing that could be done? Or do you think that they're legit when they come out and say something like that?
I think it could be anything, really. You know, I mean, a lot of these guys. I mean, you got to remember too that all of us are only awake to an extent. You know, I mean, there's probably thousands of years of information that we're still missing to be able to put things together ourselves. You know, so we're all awake to these different things. We're not all awake to the same things. You know, sometimes we question each other's beliefs when it comes to certain things. You know, so I think that a lot of these people who have already made it, you know, like a band like Korn, they can come out and say some stuff like this and probably not have it hurt them so much, especially now because it is in everybody's faces, you know. But a lot of your underground bands, you know, when they're coming out saying the stuff that, you know, that we are saying, a lot of people, you know, are afraid of it in your mainstream, you know. But as far as us that are, you know, in the movement itself, like a lot of us wish that these liberty topics were mainstream, that, you know, these messages were mainstream, but the reality of it is they're not. And so when you get a lot of these guys that are already famous and made multi-platinum records or whatever, like then they throw a song or two out there like this, like it does kind of open them to a new market, which is good to see because the most important thing is, again, people talking about this kind of stuff.
Well, what I love about your band is that your energy is undeniable when you guys play. I hope you remember at Anarchy when I threw Mike Heiss against the wall to create a pit.
There was couches.
Anarchy in New York City was a riot, man. That was a blast. We had a lot of fun there for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was a fun show. I mean, you guys
see,
definitely
a lot of people coming to your band now. Are you actually getting people that are attracted to the band because of how great your live performance and your music is, that maybe didn't know about certain topics that you do talk about in your lyrics? Are you seeing that now? Are you actually turning people on to stuff via the music?
Absolutely, man. That's really been since day one. Again, I think there's when people go out and see a live show, they're expecting to hear music, obviously, but they're not necessarily knowing what it's going to be about. Because there's a lot of people that just go out to see bands blindly, not necessarily knowing what they're going to see. And again, like a lot of the things that we talk about, I think that a lot of these people have already thought in their mind, but they're afraid to discuss it with coworkers, or they're afraid to discuss it even with their wife or their husband, or cousin or whatever, any of their friends, just because they're afraid of, oh man, we're going to get into political talk here and people are going to get heated, and I don't want to be a part of that energy, but the reality of it is we help each other evolve through our thought processes, asking these questions, and at the same time too, like being aware that as you evolve as a person, you're going to end up being hypocritical of yourself through your evolution. So a lot of people are like, oh, when I make my mind up, like even if it's not fact, I'm just my mind's made up and that's it. But at our shows, man, since day one, like people have been, it's like as soon as the show's over, all of a sudden this discussion forum opens up, and it ranges from everything from chemtrails to GMOs, Monsanto, to Oath Keepers, to different forms of news and independent media and all that kind of stuff. So it's crazy.
You have a perfect storm right now too. You're right band, right place, right time, because you're living in this uber Orwellian police state, and as the police become more and more out of control, you guys are the perfect band to rally behind for a topic like that. How often are you hearing things about the police state and the out-of-control police?
Oh, nonstop, and we've been affiliated with and supporters of copblock.org for a long time. The guys over there are awesome, and they've got so many different chapters now all the way across the world, not just in the United States. People that are starting to watch these so-called authorities that claim to have power over, free people in their sweet costumes and such, But we're out in Baltimore, Maryland, so the police state out here is very prevalent. You have checkpoints and all that kind of stuff, and I mean, they pull you over here, especially if you're downtown in the city. Like they mess with you any way they want. We've had some stuff happen to us where police were threatened us when we were trying to refund ticket money to our fans, and we had to cancel a show one time. And the music venue called the cops on us, saying that we were soliciting their place, so they bullied us off. But we caught it all on tape, and then luckily, Cop Block and a bunch of other people helped post it, and we got national press out of it. So,
nice. That actually brings me to something else I wanted to ask you, which is with the conversation of the police in general and all the things you guys talk about, and you say you're getting a good reaction, people conversing after a show. Are you, while you're navigating through the music scene, I'm sure you guys aren't really looking at major labels or whatever, just because what we know being in the music scene, but are you hitting any turbulence? Are people coming at you in any way in the music industry on a negative front?
You know what? I mean, we get the people that whether it's just a straight up music fan, whether it's a paper, a magazine, somebody from whatever, that every once in a while I'll be like, oh hey man, like this is just like a crappy Rage Against the Machine, But in all reality, as far as navigating the independent music scene, the majority of the struggle is not in your haters. The struggle is in just trying to have enough money to be able to, basically afford to live, but also be able to tour independently, to be able to record independently, to be able to have somewhere to be able to write your music independently. We don't have people funding us for the most part besides our fans. So we got to work those jobs, whether it's Monday through Friday or whatever, whether it's 40 or 60 hours, we're touring and we're coming back home busting ass to make the money to be able to get back out and get in front of people.
Absolutely. What are you guys working on? You guys have, I saw a new video you guys had posted recently. But are you guys working on an album or anything like that?
Well, we released Soundtrack to the Revolution, like middle of November in 2012. So we haven't really reached the 2-year mark yet of the release of that album, and that album in particular is still picking up a lot of steam. That's the one that Jim Florentine from That Metal Show on VH1 Classic named the #1 metal album of 2012. Which
nice.
was, like,
I didn't even know that. That's
mind-blowing,
awesome.
you know. Yeah, I mean, it was mind-blowing, you know, like you're seeing these bands like Stone Sour and such on the list, you know, and it's like he's got Rebel Inc. at #1. It's like holy crap, you know.
That's nice.
But there's been a lot of things taken off since then. You know, he's featured us on the show. Our album as a pick of the week, you know, live on the show, and then also somebody stumped Eddie Trunk, and the gift was soundtrack to the Rebel. We've been having a lot of things that have really been positive just out of his endorsement alone. But we've been taking the time recently here to kind of rest and recharge the batteries and do some writing of some new material. We went into the studio back in mid-January, got a couple tracks done, so we're waiting to get some mixes back and then figure out if we're gonna, you know, release them as singles or we're gonna put together another album or just do an EP or what we're gonna do with them. But we're in the meantime, while we're waiting on that, we're working on a couple new songs right now that we're writing from scratch. So.
Nice.
Definitely some exciting things in the works for us, and then once the batteries are recharged, then it's like it's time to hit the road and get.
Any activist events on the horizon?
Not right now. I mean, right now we don't have any events on the horizon. You know, it's we're kind of just taking this time right now again to just recharge, and we're writing a lot. You know, it takes a lot of energy from us at the same time when, again, you know, you're working those 40 to 60 hours, and then you're going in for a couple hours a night or whatever, trying to get these new songs wrapped up and get details worked out, so it can take a lot of juice out of you, you know. So
we had that discussion at Anarchy in the NYC, and it was a great event, but it was like the music acts had been pushed to the end, and we tried to break our shit down as quick as we could to make sure that you guys got your full set in. But I know that was my major squabble, what was happening at these events, where it wasn't catering to the music. And I personally, as a musician, I guess I'm biased, but I feel that music can carry this banner. As you're saying, you're going and doing these shows, and then you're having these conversations with people. So the energy of the music is dragging people and drawing them towards you. And that was my one problem with the way that maybe Anarchy and the NYC could have been done a little bit different, where the bands and music acts could have had more of a prevalent role. And going towards the future, I'm hoping to see that happen. I mean, collaborations between these liberty-minded artists like yourself, and big on shows where everybody is on that same topic, which is just consciousness. Pay attention, be awake. Do you see that as being a goal for Rebel Inc., like trying to collaborate with these other conscious artists and kind of forming a coalition? Because I think like-minded artists should stick together, and the audience is there. What is your view on that?
Right. I mean, I think it works to an extent, you know, because it's still just like everything else in the sense of, like, we have 30,000 bands around America that, you know, that want to play with Rebel Inc., and there's ones that are really qualified for it, and there's other ones that really aren't qualified for it, you know. But there's people that have different goals in mind. You know, there are people in the Liberty Movement who are in the Liberty Movement to make money. You know, you have people who are in the Liberty Movement to actually, you know, fight for liberty. There's still different agendas going on inside the movement. I mean, I'm sure you guys have even seen pretty clearly how it is still divided, even though it's still moving together in one form. It's, you know, definitely separate forms under an umbrella, you know. And at the same time, too, like, you know, we don't pigeonhole ourselves to the movement, you know. Like, we are a band. We are these guys that are saying the shit that's on our mind. That other people are relating it to, you know, and the Liberty Movement is bigger than all of us, you know, and you know, you're talking about the music carrying the flag, like, the music's bigger than all of us, you know, like, a Rebel Inc. song and what it does to somebody is bigger than, you know, than Rebel Inc., you know. I mean, it's the power of the music goes beyond what you...
Adam.
Did we lose him?
Yeah.
We lost him.
That was like the worst moment. No.
Producer, please get Adam back on the line if you could. In the meantime, I'm going to give you a subject. Heist, go. Anarchy is not a viable philosophy.
Well, how's that?
Because it's a fantasy. Go ahead.
Well, so's a republic right now.
Well, the whole idea of anarchy is to not have any division and lines, and it seems to be a lot of big-headed anarchists,
that's absolutely
what
not
Adam
true.
was talking about, causing lines and division within the liberty movement.
Not having division? Who said that? The idea is to embrace individuality. I think you're going to have a division between any two people once you embrace individuality.
Moses, what was your first question when you did this the first time?
Movement. I think the liberty movement is non-existent anymore. I think, like Adam was saying, you have a lot of big-headed people or people behind their own brand of idealism, and this causes fractures. It actually causes lines of division, which anarchists are supposedly against. When you sit and point the finger at somebody's not anarchist enough, they're statist. Isn't that causing division within a movement that supposedly has no divisionary lines?
I mean, a lot of them, I would say, have lines philosophically. I mean, if you're an anarchist and somebody is promoting, government essentially, then of course, yeah, there's going to be that difference. But I don't see that as being a, I do a show with you. I don't see that as being a all right, he's back, but I don't see that as being a hole in the head. You know what I mean? I think anarchism is a fantasy right now. It's the same way that a republic is a fantasy right now, and I think the ultimate step is I don't really care as long as we move freedom forward. You know what I mean? That's the goal right now.
Shut up. That was filler until Adam got back. Now I'm going to throw that back to Adam. Adam, what do you think is the best moves as a movement, the liberty movement, moving forward? I was just saying while you were gone to Heist that it seems like people within the liberty movement caused all these imaginary lines and compartmentalized the movement. Like, okay, this person's a statist and that person's this and this is the way you're supposed to think and everybody blah, blah, blah. Instead of letting consciousness or, being awake and aware, you were talking about different levels of understanding when you first came on. And I couldn't agree more. Everybody's a different phase of philosophy or realizing the shit mess that they're actually in. Wouldn't we be better suited to be more accepting to all those different idealistic views and not put people into these categories like statist or anarcho-capitalist?
Well, yeah, but I think the problem is that no matter what, people still seek to actually define themselves. You know what I mean? Like, everybody wants to live by a definition, whether you want to try to define yourself as an anarchist or define yourself as a libertarian or a Republican or, whatever political view, whatever way or whatever ideology you want to call it, like, as long as you seek to define, when you define, you draw borders, which you're already basically, submitting yourself to a mental slavery of your own, so these people that seek freedom aren't exactly seeking true freedom in a lot of cases, because they are seeking to draw the borders of defining their beliefs without being open-minded to other things and to possibilities. We do live in an age of stubbornness where I know better than you know, and I'm not going to listen to you, and I'm not even going to bother trying to answer your question, But I think step by step, the most important thing is that we got people out there that are talking about things that are important, talking about things that could be going on behind the scenes, and we're waking people up slowly but surely. But like what you were saying earlier, man, like I do believe that music can be a great carrier of the message and a great way to get people that aren't involved or don't know what's going on to come out to events, whether it just be a rock show with people tabling at it that, are liberty-minded tables and, discussions in between bands or whatever. But I think that you could still inform a lot of people and educate a lot of people at something that is more, geared towards the music and getting people talking that way.
And that was the big philosophy that we had with the Sleep No More show that we put in. We tried to pull, because we don't, I don't, to my knowledge, we don't have any quote unquote liberty artist bands that have like really hard broken through to the mainstream. So what I was thinking is that entrepreneurs who have the ability should book artists that do have a big unique audience, and then couple those shows up with a liberty artist or something on it, and then have the tables and things like that that you were talking about. We at Sleep No More, we incorporated little 5-minute videos in between sets, like the Federal Reserve in 5 minutes, 9/11 Truth in 5 minutes, things like this. And the response that we got was very, very positive. What do you think about that? Like trying to get on shows with bands that are already established and things like that?
I think that's the way to go, because I think what ultimately is you're looking for the largest audience you can get to pay attention to anything for any period of time. So I'll give you a great example. We opened up for Chevelle last year.
Nice.
Out in West Virginia. Played in front of about 4,000 people, and we played for a full hour. And I mean, this is pretty much 4,000 people who have never seen or heard Rebel Inc. before. And when the show was over, I had to basically go through the crowd to get to our merch table. Kevin and I, the guitar player, and it took us an hour to get through the crowd just because people kept stopping us and talking to us about whether it was the music or whether it was what we were saying and the messaging. And then when we got back to the merch table, we had a line that was a couple 100 feet long easily. And for the next 3.5 hours, we were busy talking with people about a lot of these different things. And Kevin was actually wearing his free Adam Kokesh shirt because Adam Kokesh was in jail at the time. And so that sparked some more discussions with people, and it turned into 3.5 hours of meeting people, talking about a lot of important things, meeting people that were on board with messaging already, and just kind of slowly but surely making new friends and family to kind of waking up to the cause a little bit and be supportive of each other and of music like what we're doing.
Amen, man. And
that's
I know, building off what Heist was mentioning on Sleep No More, our intentions have always been to have Sleep No More to be based around rock, metal, and having Rebel Inc. do it, and System of a Down as the headliner.
That'd be pretty badass.
Well, we do have some ideas. I don't know about System of a Down, but we do have some pretty good, viable ideas. In a serious thing, we do have some pretty good, actually doable ideas. So we'll be in touch with you about that. But 2 minutes before the break, that's fucking awesome. That's really inspiring. That I had no idea you guys played with Chevelle and that basically just endorses the idea that we have with this whole kind of concept. What who else have you shared the stage with?
We've played with Seether. We've played with Red Jumpsuit Apparatus a couple times. We've played with like Head PE. We played with Cottonmouth Kings, Mushroom Head, Non-Point, Saliva, 10 Years, Taproot, OTEP. We've played with a ton of them. No, I'm missing some other important ones. Asking Alexandria and All That Remains. We played a sold-out show in Baltimore with them in front of about 2,000 people.
We're going to bring you down to the Sherman Theater in Stroudsburg. That's what's got to happen. We're going to do that. It's happening. We only got a couple seconds left. Can you plug some of your stuff so people can find your music, please, Adam?
Yep, yeah, people can get everything on rebelincmusic.com. I think our store might be having trouble right now, but you can also go to facebook.com/rebelincmusic. That's rebelincmusic.com. And, get us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and feel free to spread the music however you want. And we're also on iTunes and all that, BS corporate shit, just to try to get the music out there, too.
Damn straight. All right, we'll be right back. Thank you, Adam. Rebel Inc.
Do you have a group or organization founded on the principles of personal liberty, health freedom, or accountable government? We invite you to check out Same Side Entertainment. Same Side is a source for activists and liberty organizations to connect with well-known leaders in today's growing movement for sustainable living, personal liberty, and sovereignty issues. Same Side has a variety of keynote speakers, debate panels, interactive web presentations, musicians, and liberty-based entertainment, as well as services for web design, graphic design, video, and photography. Same Side can help customize your event by connecting you to the best of the liberty and political world while staying within your budget. Get connected with leaders in the liberty movement like Tom Woods, Kevin Gutzman, Jack Hunter, Robert Scott Bell, Bob Murphy, Michael Scheuer, John Bush, Jordan Page, Tatiana Moroz, and many more. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and our website at www.samesideentertainment.com. Again, that's www.samesideentertainment.com. Same Side Entertainment, connecting you with the education and resources you need.
Obamacare. Fun. Cool. YOLO. At Obamacare, we believe in saying the words affordable health care so that young people will love us and sign up like lemmings. Sure, you pay 2.5% of your income in penalties, but young people don't have to worry about that because you don't have a job. Work sucks. That's why we at Obamacare want to trade your full-time job for a part-time one. So you'll have more time for fun things, like watching millionaire celebrities tweet about how affordable we are. Obamacare. Just like guys enjoy premium leather seats, so too you'll enjoy paying triple the healthcare premiums out of your new part-time salary. Speaking of guys, ever been on a mandate before? At Obamacare, we're full of mandates. But don't worry, big corporations get exempt, so you don't have to. It's fun paying for things you don't even use. Yeah, you work out, stay healthy. But come on, brah. Someone's got to pay for people who smoke, drink 85-ounce sodas, and live in a Barca-lounger. So enjoy your premium hikes, young people of America, because everyone loves hikes. Obamacare. If millionaire celebrities can afford us, why can't you? A message from the White House Office of Obamacare. Propaganda to get young people to love us and sign up like lemmings.
In every age, a technology is created that upends the foundations of society. The wheel, the printing press, the internet. Now, in a world sliding into financial chaos, a new technology is changing the way monetary systems work around the world. It is called Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a new form of money, controlled not by banks, governments, or corporations, but through mutual commerce between free individuals. To learn more, visit weusecoins.com.
Well, yeah, it's getting tough out there. Yeah, no doubt. I work in home invasions, mostly. Some murder, occasional rape, if she's hot, or really bitchy. And I'm a huge advocate of gun control, absolutely. Every time I kick in a door or smash a window, I face the possibility of being shot and killed. Allowing citizens to own guns creates a hostile work environment for me and my associates. No one should have to work under those conditions. I say make them all illegal, absolutely. I mean, I break the law for a living. I'm a professional, so it doesn't really bother me. No doubt. No doubt.
Your local violent criminals work hard and put their lives on the line every time they attempt to murder, rape, abduct, or assault a member of the citizenry. They desperately need your help. With your support, there may finally come a day when a violent criminal can have his way with you or someone you love without the fear, anxiety, and stress caused by knowing there's a possibility his victim might be armed. Please show your support by voting for stronger anti-gun legislation because criminals prefer unarmed citizens.
In 1997, a high school shooting was stopped by a vice principal with a gun. In 1998, a middle school shooting was ended by a neighbor with a gun. In 2002, a terrorist attack was stopped by a school guard and a teacher with a gun. After September 11th, pilots began carrying guns to protect their passengers. Let's give our schools and teachers the same option. Sign the petition at defendschools.com.
Thanks for listening to FPRN. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter. If you'd like to start your own show with FPRN, advertise with us, or donate to the network or to your favorite shows, check out our website at www.fprnradio.com.
Final segment of our show here on the Big Plantation. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Having an awesome show here. We still got Adam Armstrong of Rebel Inc. with us. Adam, a question that I wanted to get into is as a fan of heavy music, why do you think it is that Rebel Inc. has the ability to penetrate, it seems like, into a wider audience than a lot of the other bands that are carrying this message? Because to me, I think what it is that it's heavy, but it's not crazy death metal heavy. You got harsh vocals, but it's not like I need to read all of the lyrics. I think it kind of just captures the feeling that most Americans are getting, and that's anger. You know what I mean? I think there's a general anger that is kind of sweeping the country, especially in the youth, because they know something's wrong. They can feel that their opportunities are being sucked up, but they can't necessarily identify how or why. Why do you feel it's this kind of music that is able to do what it's doing?
I think because exactly what you said, man. I think that I think the majority of people in the world are good people, and I think when they actually realize the world that they're living in and the realities and the truths of it, that there's a lot to be very, very angry about, especially people who love and people who care, which I believe that's the majority of the world, and we have people that do come up to us, and it's funny because there's a lot of people that will just be like, man, these guys are just angry and pissed. And then they'll have other people come up to us and be like, man, you know what I hear in your music? I hear love, and that's really where the anger comes from, because we're guys that care, we give a damn, about our lives, about the lives of our brothers and sisters and other good people around the world, we care. And when we make our music and we write our songs, we write them to be performed live. We don't write them to be recorded in a $1 million recording studio. So when we record them, man, we record them in a basement, and we record them pretty much as raw as we can get them. And I think that people pick up on that, not just the music itself, but on that raw vibe, but also that emotion, because when you hear, for example, like, man, you throw on a Red Hot Chili Peppers album that came out in the last 1 or 2 years, like, it sounds like those guys just pretty much quit, as far like Anthony Kiedis, for example, like he's just like rabba dabba dooba dooba dooby dooby doo. Like you don't hear any emotion in the guy's voice anymore, like there's no connection to it. And I think there's a lot of other, a lot of music out there that's like that nowadays. And people, when they hear emotion, they can feel it too. And I think that's really helped, people grab on to what we're doing.
Well, Adam, you guys speak on a lot of different truth topics, but what is something that's important to you that's happening right now that you feel like is a subject that could be rallied behind? But what's going on in the world right now that's the most pressing to you?
Oh, man, I would just have to say, the banking system and commerce, man. It's man-made. It's created. Like we put this value on everything. We put monetary value on it rather than putting life value on it. So we kind of fallen under this guise of that. You need this specific thing to make things happen for you, when it's not really that you need this, coin or this money. Like you need either the knowledge to be able to do something, or you need somebody with that knowledge to be able to do it for you. And there's always ways of exchanging whatever it may be. But I think ultimately that with the world being run by the money system and the way that the money system's run, that's what needs to fall, because it's pretty much, it's well, like you guys know, it's debt and slavery, and there's no way to get out of it, and we're just getting deeper and deeper into it. So waking people up to that kind of stuff and the value of life and the value of these things that it takes for us to survive, food and water over money every day.
It's like we never left the plantation.
Right, and we're never going to leave it, unless we start taking action. And, I think step 1 is thinking about it, step 2 is talking about it, and then step 3 is taking action, So it's going to take a long time to get where we want to get, and it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take generations and generations, but we got to start somewhere, and once we start, we can't stop.
Especially with how they keep that veil over economics for people. People already just are so hands-off when it comes to the money subject. It's like it's too complicated. They can't understand it. So it is such an important issue to champion if you think about it, because it is what controls everything.
Yep, yeah, and that's the funny thing is it's like you said, it's a veil, it's a guise. It's not truly what controls everything. Like that's part of that mental slavery that you've subjected yourself to. That we all need to break away from, and it's happening, but slowly but surely. But doing things like what we're doing things like what you guys are doing. I think it's really important that the arts are involved, whether it be through radio, whether it be through music, whether it be through painting, structure, whatever it may be. Independent media, comedy, whatever. Movies, films. I think that the arts, taking this and running with it and making it move is going to help the movement build, tenfold, and so on and so on. So it's important for the arts to get involved, because I think there's an appreciation for the arts all the way from your oppressed people to your people who are already living free.
I think we lost Mike Heiss. It's not usual that we lose one of the co-hosts, but it happens every now and then. He's got a really big toilet seat. Sometimes he falls in. You there, Heiss? He really is gone.
Apparently not.
Well, I'll take it from there. I think as Jamie was mocking me for my pronunciation of economics, I went into teacher mode. I wanted to be clear, but it is so important. And what we see happening right now in the news is bankers dying very oddly. And the CEO, I believe it was, of Bitcoin killed herself, which I found kind of odd. Do you think, personal, and this is apart from music and everything, Adam,
hold up, Moses, just to be clear, it wasn't the CEO of Bitcoin. It was the CEO of one of the exchanges. That's like saying the CEO of dollars died when the CEO of Citibank jumps off.
You can't bounce. You can't bounce from the show and then cut me off. It don't work like that. But
I got caught.
Me. I was asking Adam a question. I wanted to get his view on Bitcoin and if he thinks there's any importance in the trade of alternative currencies.
I think that there can be, but ultimately, like, everybody's got a different value on everything, so people are going to find different ways to trade, whatever it may be. You're going to have people that will use Bitcoin. You'll have people that will use the mountain hours, like Wayne Walton's come up with. You're going to have all kinds of different things. You're going to have people that will straight up trade, because you're going to have people that don't give a damn about a Bitcoin or any other coin, that they just want to trade, services, or that they want to trade goods, or whatever it may be. And then you're going to have other people that want to be involved with a more, designed system, whether it's through technology or whatever. So you're always going to have these different things. But so the future actually probably lies in several different forms. As you might actually have several different forms of society kind of grow within these random borders. So I think the future is going to be people using just different things, period. But like I said before, the most important thing is that people are actually talking about alternative forms of money and all these other things. So
right, it becomes a vehicle in and of itself just to have the conversation, to understand what is actually happening in our country and in our world. And I wanted to throw a shout out to Mountain Hours as well, because I am in possession of Mountain Hours. I was paid Mountain Hours for Paul Festival. I'm assuming you guys got some of those Walton Mountain Hours as well down in Paul Festival.
Yep. And love the concept, man. And I think there's a lot that can be built off of it for sure. I just think that people have to be wary that anything that can become hijacked has to be watched closely, because there's no sense in doing anything that runs the same danger of destroying us when we can, maintain our liberty from it, So.
Sure, and now they're talking about taxing Bitcoin. We were talking about that a couple weeks ago. Jamie, what is the story with the taxation on Bitcoin? Can you explain it to me? And speak real slow because I don't process it well.
The IRS is classifying Bitcoin as property, so you can be taxed on the property of Bitcoin, but it is not being seen as a currency from the IRS. So, like, when you withdraw and you make a profit, that's probably
the minute it becomes real. The minute it's not just a
quote-unquote real.
Right. So
yeah, and that's all of it, man. Because people are just choosing to randomly put whatever value they want on anything. So anything that can be controlled with a value by even a set group of people or one person, that's gonna cause problems eventually.
Which definitely made me always wary of Bitcoin, because it seemed to me to have just working within an economy that looks completely manipulated already, for it to skyrocket past gold, and now you got this taxation bit going on here. They allowed it to get to that level. I don't believe the market to be actually free. It's 100% manipulated. Even the price of gold versus silver, all of that. So Bitcoin, to me, being allowed to flourish the way it did, even though it is a universal thing, it's not exclusive to America. In fact, I think its roots are coming more clear to be from China. It seemed to me to be allowed to rise in the stocks as it did, and flourish, only now to be taxed if it becomes real, which is suspect to me.
That's the thing is can you use fake money to trade with what you would want to deem real money? The answer is no, because as long as fake is always in there, then the money's fake. So if you're trading real money for fake money, then the real money still isn't worth crap.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
I mean,
it's such a weird paradox. It's like you only judge
fake,
how much worth you have in Bitcoin based on the dollar, the imaginary piece of paper that the Federal Reserve prints.
Well, that's just absolutely not true. I mean, that's totally. I mean, you can buy, like I said, you can buy anything with the only downfall of Bitcoin.
That.
Huh?
Nobody's doing that. They were treating Bitcoin like an investment. That's what's happening.
They being the IRS, but who cares
now it's
about
purely
what they
an
think?
investment. What else can you do with it if you
can buy whatever you want with it? You
taxed.
can go online and buy a computer with it. You can go online and buy whatever. The Kings are accepting tickets in Bitcoin. You can go see a fucking Kings game live with Bitcoin. Like there's
go to
all kinds of.
Jamie, is it taxed when you do that now for purchases?
For purchases, because I believe it transfers it into USD before. Isn't that how it works at those exchanges? I mean, I guess it's different between each one. Like, I don't know what Overstock does.
I don't think if the exchange, from what I gather from the way it's going to work with the IRS, the exchange of Bitcoin between you and Ticketmaster, whoever is buying the ticket, would not in and of itself be taxed. If whoever is receiving it goes to cash it out into Federal Reserve notes, then I think they would get hit with the tax. But no,
are you going to get caught at the end of the year by the IRS for transferring Bitcoin to USD, even if it's not paper? Are they going to come back and go, hey, you spent this much Bitcoin, you turned it away from Bitcoin, turned it into American dollars, even though it's digital, and now you owe us XYZ amount of money.
Cashing it out. That's the issue of whoever's cashing it out. Now, the only problem that I see with Bitcoin is that it has to be bought into, much the same way as gold. Gold has to be bought into. That's the main problem.
I mean, I think that there's a lot of gray areas with Bitcoin that nobody knows exactly how it's going to work yet, and I don't even think the IRS has a full grip on what they're going to do with it because it's a new frontier.
Yeah, but to say, I just don't like the notion that they're gods. Oh, they allowed it. They allow everything. Everything good they just allowed. Like that.
Is the economy
nothing can break
manipulated?
Through.
Is the stock market manipulated?
What's that?
All right. How is the Federal Reserve able to keep interest rates at this artificial low rate?
Because they have monopoly on it. But there's no monopoly on it. Like there's not. At least not like that. If you want to consider the miners a monopoly, but they're not. Like, all right, well, we're going to charge $500 over spot for Bitcoin. There's a whole tipping culture in Bitcoin because the idea is just to get it around.
Right, and they allowed it to do that, and now they're announcing the taxation of it when it becomes dollars. Now the philosophical argument of when is it worth
piece of the pie?
Money.
I mean, that's ridiculous. If anyone thought that they weren't going to try.
Yeah, but they allowed it to prosper, get to the level where it was trading higher than gold. Then they stepped in to do it. Now people that are in it, the people at the highest level made fucking ridiculous amounts of money because that's the only reason they got involved in this trade. That's what made it a Ponzi
really
scheme to me.
Vilified, though? I mean, it's a service. It's so what if they made money? It's a service.
It's a service, but now what is it? Now it's a currency. It's not a service anymore if you're being taxed on it when it becomes money. It lost its value at that point.
But hold up. Then what's the incentive here? Don't treat it like a currency. Don't treat it like an investment. It's not
free anymore, Mike. That's what I'm telling you. It is controlled by within our borders. It's no longer a free currency, alternative currency. It's an item to be traded now.
Only if you cash it out.
I'm telling you that they're going to make the argument that if you bought something with Bitcoin, that's the equivalent of cashing it out.
Goods, then no, you're going to stay under the radar.
Yeah,
now, who knows? They might have something for that down the line. Maybe, probably. But for now...
You don't think the IRS would do that?
Do what?
They've already set the foundation in place to treat it like it's property so that it can be taxed. You're telling me at the end of the year somebody makes $100,000 in Bitcoin. And then they use it, like you're saying, to spend it only online, never cashing it out. And that $100,000...
But that's what it's meant to be done with. Like, that's what's meant to be done with it. It's you can transfer wealth with it. It's supposed to be a currency. You want to think of it as an investment, so all you can think of it is the trade ratio with dollars and that kind of thing. But that's not the point. The point is to be able to, one, transfer wealth with no intermediary, to take the banking services from banks themselves into you are in control of your own wallet. You're in control of all that stuff, and you can set different parameters through the blockchain. You can create, a will with it. Like, all right, let's say I don't know, I had $1 million worth of Bitcoin and I wanted to give an inheritance to my kids when I die. You can set a parameter that will go into a specific wallet for when certain conditions are met. Like, you can do that.
Exactly,
it's crazy.
Like a bond or a stock. It sounds the same, and those are taxed.
But yeah, but that the services that you are saying that they are like, they're bond-like, is not taxed. It's only taxed if you get a profit on it. If you turn it into dollars. So what I'm saying is, if you don't do
Bitcoin,
that,
why else would you be using it?
To get away from the dollar,
right? And you only understand its worth based on a comparison to the Federal Reserve note, right? That's the only way we can equate
that's just not true.
Any worth.
What's that?
You can only equate worth with Bitcoin based on how it trades against the American dollar.
No.
How else?
By the goods and services that you can get with it. That's what any currency is.
Right. And what are they saying? They're saying 0.002 Bitcoins for this T-shirt. But how much does that equate out to in dollars? Because you have to transfer it, like Jamie said.
You can't wear the dollars. You're not looking to wear the dollars. You're looking to wear the shirt. So who cares?
Yeah, that's a philosophical point, Mike. What I'm telling you is that they have put it down.
You think people are just getting into Bitcoin and just saying, I think it'll be fun? Like, no, people are.
No, I think people may have been tricked into it. It's just a Ponzi scheme at this point. If you cannot,
I think that would be the burden. The burden of proof lies on you with that. How is it a Ponzi scheme? The only way you could say it's a Ponzi scheme is there's some people who are making money off it because they had the mining machines and stuff like that. Yeah, but I don't think that's something to be vilified. I think that would be vilifying capitalism. Like, I don't
not
think
vilified.
that.
In fact, it is capitalism. But now that you have the state getting involved with a capitalistic entity via taxation, you have fascism. Really, right?
No, I wouldn't say that. No, because that would be government. They're just trying to get their cut. But you don't even have to give them their cut. Just don't cash it out.
I say that if you just hold it in there, are you saying that people are going to just save Bitcoin indefinitely? They're not going to use it to try to increase their portfolio. Everything you've said sounds like a stock or a bond. If you want to hold it over and, I want 10% of my worth to be transferred into Bitcoin if I die to go to such and such. That is what happens with estate tax. Estate tax will rape your money that you're leaving to your loved ones. That's what taxation does.
Okay, but estate tax doesn't apply. Like, that, the only tax that applies to Bitcoin is the one that has been levied. So,
you don't think
to compare it to that is ridiculous because it's non-existent.
They are taxing it as property.
Yes. But again, that is irrelevant if you just keep it in Bitcoin. It is absolutely irrelevant if you keep it in Bitcoin.
And all your other finances remain in check because it can be seized as property. So
that is identical to what an IRA is, right? If you cash out your IRA early, you are taxed for it.
Okay, again, cashed out. Can you take your IRA without cashing it out and buy goods and services? No, you cannot. You can do that with Bitcoin.
And I argue that when you do that, they are going to find a way to tax you.
They could very well be looking at that, but as of right now, no.
You have to transfer it to USD first in order to purchase something.
Not
At the end of
always.
the year, of course, if you're talking about $100 here, they're not going to care. But if somebody has monopolized Bitcoin to the level where they're making $100,000 purely in Bitcoin, are you telling me that the federal government is not going to come after them for an income tax and a sales tax and a withdrawal tax? They're not going to tax the fuck out of these Bitcoin owners now that they put the Trojan horse
I have 2 degrees of separation from Bitcoin millionaires, and no, that has not been an issue yet, no.
Bitcoin millionaires, do they live in this country?
Yes.
So they are millionaires. They haven't cashed it out, obviously.
No.
So can we use the term millionaires for somebody who has a whole bunch of Bitcoin? Or are they just basically like at an arcade? They can get a few stuffed animals here.
No, you could buy a car, you could buy a house. It's been done.
And that's not going to be taxed.
No, that hadn't happened yet. No.
You think that they? I want to go back. Is our guest on? Adam, what is your view on that? Do you think that they would try to tax you if you bought a house with Bitcoin, or they're just going to be like, oh, they got one?
They will
over.
now because.
Yeah. Well, I think what you guys are talking about is I think one guy's talking about the future and one guy's talking about now. You know, there's no doubt that, like you were already saying, that they're going to get a piece of their pie one way or another, and it might not be right now, but it'll definitely come at some point. But at the same time, too, like people just got to be careful of. There's already people of extreme wealth in the world, obviously. So those people that are already wealthy can easily manipulate these types of markets. You know, also, you know, if we want to move back to the gold and silver for our monetary, like there's already super wealthy people with tons of gold and silver, so they're going to be just as wealthy as they are, you know, if we move to that standard. You know, so that's like you got to be careful. And now it's an actual war of currency. And in every war, these people that are the powers that be are going to be playing both sides of the war. So it's going to be tough to trust any of them, really, you know. But I guess at some point in time, people are going to have to kind of put their feet in the water and see what happens, unless they just start their own thing. And who knows, you could just end up with hundreds of thousands of local currencies and no national or world currency or whatever. And that may end up being the best way to go, so people can just trade locally and figure out regionally and internationally at a later time, or however it may work itself out.
And that is what I really like about the hour system. I really do like. Honestly, I prefer, like as a concept, the hour system to even Bitcoin, because the hour system is basically that the inherent wealth within everybody that you, the human being, is what is value, and that is tradable. And basically it's kind of like a barter system that has forgiveness built into it. That because the problem with barter is that let's say Jamie has a steak knife that he wants to give me, and I have a bushel of apples or something. He doesn't want one thing, but I want the other. Basically, it allows me to go negative, and that's cool for a while, and it's a medium of exchange that is based on that philosophy. I mean, it really took me a long time to wrap my head around the hour system, but I think you hit the nail on the head. I don't think Bitcoin is trying to be the new monolithic currency. I don't think ours is trying to be the new monolithic currency. I think each one has pros and cons for different users that have different niches. And I think that is the essence of the entire thing. It's decentralization, not re-centralization. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm just too much of a skeptic with what the Federal Reserve has up its sleeve. I mean, money is the power. Money is control. All right, and if you get too much liberation via these alternative currencies, I'm all about it too, because it does equate out to freedom. But they will then point the finger when they purposely deflate the money down to or inflate the money down to no value whatsoever, and then point the finger at all these other currencies and say that that's what's doing it, and we need to just re-federalize the trade industry. And that these things are causing harm to it. They can blame the bubble when it bursts, the money bubble create and not and people will buy it.
We need to focus on the wealth that we can create with each other, and the things that we can do to prosper with each other, and not on the fear of what they might react to it. I think that's what's holding us back, and that's kind of like what you're espousing.
Yeah, but buy Bitcoin.
Buy Bitcoin, buy hours, make your own hours. I'm looking to make my own hours, honestly, once we get the ball rolling and get moved to where I want to really get this operation going and everything. But Adam, awesome
Rebel
time
League
tonight.
For life.
Thanks for joining us. I hope everyone enjoyed our show.
I appreciate you guys having me on, man. I appreciate you having me on. Thank you very much.
Come back anytime, bro.
Big Plantation.
We'll
See you next
week. Lots of love to you guys, and keep doing what you're doing and waking people up.
Thanks, man. Peace.
For liberty!
Thanks for listening to FPRN. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter. If you'd like to start your own show with FPRN, advertise with us, or donate to the network or to your favorite shows, check out our website at www.fprnradio.com.